entertainmentbuddha.com.
Listen up, Cogs. Matt Haywood here from entertainmentbuddha.com, and it's time to get learned on the latest Gears of War title to grace Microsoft's platforms, and that's Gears of Freaking War 4! Why is it freaking, you might ask? For starters, it just sounds cool, but in all honesty, it's the biggest, baddest, and most brutal Gears game to date, and if you have the right equipment, it's also one of the best looking games to release this console generation, but more on that later. Gears 4 takes place 25 years after the end of Gears 3, and humanity is slowly rebuilding its population on Serra. The planet is also slowly recovering from the Locust War that was won by the COG thanks to Marcus Phoenix and his squad, but the effects of the emulsion weapon have really taken their toll on society. The COG still exists, but now instead of pumping out steroid-fueled gears, the focus has been put on creating automatons to do the government's dirty work. Many citizens still don't trust the COG, so they have formed settlements outside of COG control and have been labeled outsiders. Thanks to a recent bout of mysterious disappearances, the distrust between the COG and outsiders is at an all-time high, which is right about where the campaign kicks off. You play as JD Phoenix, the son of Marcus Phoenix and Anya Stroud, two heroes from the Locust War. Like his old man, JD is a hulking individual and a bit of a rogue, which leads him and his Gears buddy Del to go AWOL and join an outsider faction led by Reyna Diaz, whose daughter Kate has captured the attention of JD in a boy-meets-girl type of way. Early on, you raid a COG base to steal a fabricator, which is a portable 3D printing machine of awesome for the outsider settlement. Before long, the COG catches wind of the plan and dispatches its new robotic forces, affectionately dubbed DBs, which you eventually learn are the creations of a Gears franchise favorite. After the COG attack Reyna's settlement and are successfully defeated, the settlement is attacked yet again, but this time JD and his buddies are up against a much more intense threat than a few COG automatons. The locusts, or what appears to be locusts, but are in fact a new species called the Swarm, obliterates the outsider settlement and carry off its inhabitants using snatchers, which are big-ass, ugly-looking things that have a massive vagina on their underside to carry away and process human flesh. Of course, the three new heroes are the only ones to get out alive thanks to Reyna, but it's too late to save her. Reyna and everyone else in the settlement is either dead or taken, so after examining a swarm corpse, which curiously has an emulsion crystal on it just like the dead locust got from the emulsion weapon at the end of Gears 3. This prompts the gang to begrudgingly partner up with the one person on Serra who knows the locust and their kind inside and out, Marcus Phoenix. This is about the time that the main story kicks in, which is all about the fate of JD and his crew, but also the legacy of the heroes that came before them. Unfortunately, JD and his dad are a bit at odds because after all, when you eat steroids for breakfast, you're bound to be a little cranky. For the sake of spoilers, I'll leave the rest of the plot alone, but I can tell you that it's one of the best campaigns to date thanks to the mysterious narrative and plenty of callbacks to the original franchise that longtime fans will air Chainsaw 2 in jubilation. Let's just say there's plenty of fan service, but not so much that the focus is taken off of JD and the new breed of heroes that this inevitable new trilogy will feature. In terms of gameplay, not much has changed campaign-wise, which may or may not be cool with you depending on what you want out of a third-person shooter. There are 5 acts to tackle, each with around 4 to 5 chapters to literally brutalize the Swarm and occasional DB units through. It easily provides around 10 to 12 hours of solid gameplay, which can be played locally in split screen, through matchmaking, or crossplay with gamers on Windows 10 PC. I didn't have a partner to roll with, so luckily the AI is competent enough to have your back when you need healing and shoot like stormtroopers to help you whittle down this seemingly unending horde of swarm scum trying to shred your body to pieces. For the most part, you work your way through checkpoints that entail the familiar pop-and-cover gameplay first made famous by Gears 1. You'll hit a new area, enemies begin to attack, you shoot back, wait for the now iconic guitar riff to signal you've killed them all, then move on to the next area. Of course, you get to do all this with classic Gears weapons, but there are some deadly new ones such as the Overkill or a Buzzsaw gun, which can turn a skirmish into a deadly match of ricocheting rusty saw blades that can cut down the swarm in one shot, as well as yourself if you're not careful. There are also horde-like segments which throw waves of enemies at you while you wait on a character to do something to progress the game. During each wave, you can hit up a fabricator to create new defenses, so there's a bit of strategy during these moments, but ultimately they end up being a more chaotic bloodbath than the standard pop and cover segments. Gears 4 also has some pretty fun on-rail sequences, and one of the most powerful feeling mech segments I've ever experienced in a shooter. The on-rail sequences are actually quite fun and frenetic, even if it's a tired video game trope in the shooter space. There's one that is entirely unique though, so overall I really enjoyed these little changes in the gameplay formula, and they definitely embrace the over-the-top nature of the Gears of War franchise. Overall, the pacing of the campaign is fantastic and keeps you on the edge of your seat from start to finish, but it does falter a bit in Act 5, which seems a bit rushed. So before you know it, the credits start to roll and you're left feeling like there should have been another chapter to get through to help tell a bit more story and provide a bit of a resolution to the plot. With that being said though, the end throws a major reveal in your face which you really don't see coming, at least not the implications it has for the sequels, which will happen based on how open Gears 4 ending is. The ending definitely made me go, "Say what?" and it led me to do a bit of Gears lore brushing up over at Gearspedia. To me, if a game's narrative can get me speculating on what may happen next and study lore, I consider it to be a stellar one. So outside the rush climax, I absolutely loved the campaign story. Now, what makes Gears 4 better than its predecessors is the amazingly crisp and vibrant visuals. If you own the Xbox One S and an HDR-capable 4K TV, you will be blown away by the visual fidelity. Thanks to the game's supported HDR, it provides deep dark tones, bright light tones, and some of the richest colors I've ever seen in a video game. The lighting is exquisite, while the textures are very detailed, so the world comes to life unlike any Gears game before it. Now, if you don't have the right tech to pull this off, it still looks phenomenal in 1080p, but it is a damn gem with upscaled 4K and HDR. It's easily one of the best looking, technically executed video games I've played, so the Coalition really outdid themselves in the visuals department. The sound design is equally impressive thanks to a masterful score by Game of Thrones composer Raymond Djawadi. Like the first Gears, even the menu music is catchy, and there are more than a few musical themes spread throughout the campaign that capture the essence of Gears while putting a new spin on its score. Of course, the sound effects and voice acting are badass too. With every kill, you can feel the carnage in your souls thanks to the brilliant Foley work and sound design. The main cast is also expertly voiced, which brings an authenticity to the characters, which allows you to become emotionally invested in their journey. In all honesty, if Gears 4 just shipped with the campaign, I'd be happy, because it really is riveting, even with the somewhat tried and true Gears of War franchise gameplay tropes. The story is mysterious and intriguing, while the characters are just as interesting and will have much more to them in the sequels. I definitely want to continue this new foray into the Gearsverse, so here's to hoping Gears 5 is already being greenlit. What makes the Gears 4 package even better than what I just described is its full-on multiplayer component, which has all sorts of gamers covered in terms of how they like to play games online. I do want to point out that I didn't have issues connecting to the game's dedicated servers, but considering that I had an early review copy, I was treated to guided multiplayer sessions with the dev team, so I can't comment on what multiplayer will be like once the rest of Gears Nations comes online. But I do expect it to be robust enough to keep on churning during the inevitable launch crunch. There's a traditional versus multiplayer mode that contains a mix of social and competitive playlists and 10 maps to wage war on, 9 of which are brand new. There are also a few new match types to experience, such as dodgeball and arms race. In dodgeball, you can get your fallen teammates back into action by killing enemy forces, while in arms race, everyone starts with boomers, but the weapons swap for the entire team every 3 kills, which keeps things very interesting. Horde 3.0 is also included in the multiplayer component, and it's one of the more fun co-op experiences in the game. There are 50 waves of increasingly harder enemies to wade through with boss fights every 10 rounds. Fabricators can be moved around the map, and can also be pumped full of credit to earn to buy new gear or defenses between rounds. It can also be leveled up to provide even better equipment to help you during the later waves, which get brutal as a mother humper. The biggest change to the Gears multiplayer formula, though, is the introduction of a Halo 5-like rec system. You can earn credits from any type of multiplayer match, which in turn can be used to buy gear packs, which when opened can yield cosmetic changes in the form of skins or booster cards that can be used in multiplayer to increase XP or credits earned in a match. Basically, everything in the game can be earned by racking up credits and just playing, but you do have the choice to accelerate your loot if you choose to. Gears of War 4 is without a doubt a gem of a game, and a more than worthy entry in the proper Gears franchise. The story is intriguing, if not a bit unresolved by the end, but it definitely sets the inevitable sequels to be shocking. The gameplay is as solid and tight as ever, but a bit stale when compared to the other Gears games. Although, thanks to the near-perfect visuals and sheer fun factor, popping and covering your way through the game still feels rewarding. Of course, you have the multiplayer modes, which thanks to the Gears packs and a focus on social and competitive play, will give the game long legs in terms of replayability. Even if you're not a Gears fan, or haven't played the others, I still highly recommend picking this game up, because it's just loads of fun and a game that will keep you and your gaming buddies hooked for quite some time. It may feature a new cast of heroes, but they're ones worth taking a gamble on, and like I mentioned earlier, there's plenty of fan service for the Gears faithful. Thank goodness Sarah's such a jacked up world, because it keeps providing excellent gameplay experiences 10 years after its first introduction. For all that's been said, Gears of War 4 earns a very respectable 98 out of 100 rating from Entertainment Buddha. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit up EB on a daily basis, because we will make you a better geek one post at a time.